So this is something I kind of think of every start of a new MLB The Show game. What if the MLB restarted and had a fantasy draft? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be doing a fantasy draft, not a rebuild. We're just going to sim a season and see what happens if, the MLB restarted and it had a fantasy draft. So with that being said, you guys hit that 600 like goal so easily. So again, guys, if you want to see a rebuild tomorrow morning, let's hit 500 likes on this video. This video is going to go up a little bit later, so I'll give you guys a little bit easier target of 500 likes, and I'll bring you a rebuild tomorrow. Speaking of rebuilds, if you missed the last one, the Seattle Mariners went up a little bit earlier this afternoon. Go and give it a watch. I'll give you a link above my head. And that's really about it, guys. So guys, make sure you hit the like button down below if you did enjoy the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and enjoy the content. And in the comment section, I want you to tell me if you could have one player on your favorite team, who would it be? So again, in the comment section, let me know who that would be. If you didn't know, all social media links are down in the description: Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and there's also my Twitch channel. I've been kind of streaming later at night, my March to October grind, my team showdown, or like the showdown grind on Diamond Dynasty. So if you guys just want to come hang out while we grind some stuff, or we check out some franchise things, go to the Twitch and go and follow it so you're notified whenever I do go live. So really, other than that, let's hop into this, fantasy draft and see what happens if the MLB restarts. So I'm just going to pick the Cubs because it doesn't really matter who we end up picking. Contracts doesn't matter. We are going to have fantasy draft on, and then we are going to have budgets on as well. So it kind of forces teams to, you know what? Let's just take the budgets off just so we can see what would happen if pure chaos was allowed. So here we are, and let's just go through it. Let's see, simulate draft, and then actually, you know what, we'll wait because Cody Bellinger went first, DeGrom went second, Trout, Acuna, Bregman. So Trout didn't even go first. We had Bellinger, Trout went third. You got Bregman, Arenado, Soto, Judge. Couple interesting ones for sure. I could see these guys definitely being top 25 picks. But some of the order is a little weird. So we had the 26th pick. We'll see some of the players that are available. I'm not going to pick any of them. I'm going to let the CPU handle it. But you guys can see some of the names that are sitting there. There's some interesting ones for sure. And I mean, I would pick some of these guys definitely to start my franchise around. So with that being said, let's let the draft happen. And I'll start going through it and I'll show you guys the teams. All right, so you guys can see I changed everything to auto, and let's take a look at the pitching staff for every single team. The Cubs look like they didn't really focus on pitching at all. You guys can see the rest of the teams. Paddock is on the Reds. That's an interesting one. You got Charlie Morton and Mike Soroka on the Brewers. Bieber on the Pirates. Okay. Osuna on the Cardinals, along with, yikes, it looks like pitching is kind of sparse throughout the teams. Eduardo Rodriguez, Carlos Martinez on the D-backs. You got Walker Buehler and Noah Syndergaard. Ooh, on the Rockies, that's going to be a solid rotation right there. Flaherty, Kluber on the Dodgers. Padres looking Presley and Kayla in the bullpen's a nice little 1-2 punch to end the game. Chris Sale, Sonny Gray on the Giants. Hendricks on the Orioles. You got Tyone and Balazovic on the Red Sox. But definitely some interesting ones. Otani on the Yankees, Ryu on the Rays. We got Castillo, Severino, Marquez on the Blue Jays, Chapman on the White Sox with Barrios. Okay, Strasburg. All right, there's some pretty interesting ones for sure. So definitely check out your team as I quickly skip through the rest of them because I don't want to be here all day keeping you guys. But you guys can see the teams. It's pretty interesting to see where these players ended up, who went where, who got selected by what team. Snell on the Marlins, Brandon Morrow with the Nationals. You got Garrett Cole, Urias Manea on the Mets. Okay, so Verlander on the Phillies. All right, so let's take a look at the lineups for each team now. And the Cubs, Bryant, Stanton, Goldschmidt. You got Justin Upton. Okay, and a really young team. You got Madrigal, Horner, Witt Jr. as well. All right. Let's see who else. Castellanos went to the Reds, which is like real life. Luis Robert was on the Reds as well. Altuve, Buster Posey on the Brewers. Josh Bell is still on the Pirates. Jose Ramirez, Puig. What else we got? Vlad Jr. is with Joey Gallo on the Cardinals. That's some pop. Tatis is on the D-backs with Muncy. You got Perez McCutcheon on the Rockies. Anybody good? Suarez, fam. Pretty good ones there. Gary Sanchez, Yordan Alvarez, Trey Turner was there. So yeah, some pretty solid teams. Lindor, Moncada, Carlos Santana. That's a team right there. And Whit Merrifield's on the Yankees with Jorge Polanco, Cody Bellinger, Marcelo Zuna. That team is very solid. Holy cow. Marte with Devers, Pete Alonso, Moustakas, and Schwarber. That's a lot of pop off the bat on that Rays lineup. Acuna is with Trey Mancini on the Blue Jays. Bregman, Austin Meadows, Anthony Rizzo on the south side of Chicago. And the Indians team, you got Arenado, you got Eddie Rosario, but it's looking a little weak. Trout is on the Tigers with Michael Brantley, JT Realmuto. All right. Pedroia, Yelich, Dansby Swanson's there. The Twins lineup's looking a little weak for sure. You got David Dahl, George Springer, Miguel Andujar, Bryce Harper, Paul DeJong with the Angels. That's a pretty solid team. Eloy, Manny Machado, Jose Abreu, Mitch Garver. That's a solid team too. I almost said Hesop Choi, G-Man Choi. You got Trevor Story, Matt Olson. That's not a terrible Mariners team. The Rangers, you got the Astros with Sano, JD Martinez, Corey Seager, Ozzy Albies, Wilson Contreras. That's a team as well. So some pretty solid teams. It looks like teams either went heavy with the pitching or heavy with the lineups, the offensive ability. So some pretty good teams for sure, and then some of the weaker teams as well. So let's hop into it. Let's just see how this season plays out and see if there's any crazy trades that I'll show you along the way. But yeah, budgets are off as per usual. I guess we could see, or not as per usual, but just to kind of make things a little bit crazier. No crazy names in free agency. A lot of aging players that probably wouldn't get picked if there was a fantasy draft. So let's sim it out, and I'll see you guys at the end of the year. Alrighty, so the Cubs, they didn't make the postseason, but that's okay. I'm kind of interested to see some of these other teams who did, who didn't. We got the Brewers, the Padres, the Cardinals, the Marlins, and the Nationals. You got the Tigers, Blue Jays, Astros, Angels, and the Athletics. So let's take a look, see, how things, kind of played out. I guess the standings are kind of irrelevant since we already know who made the postseason. But let's see some league leaders. Stanton with the best batting average. Okay. Blackman, Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, Avisail Garcia. Okay. Some interesting ones for sure. Yelich, Realmuto, Arenado, Mike Trout, Schwarber. So I'm seeing a lot of high averages in these franchises quite often. So maybe that's just a trend that's going to happen. Hits, no one capped 200. Some pretty close ones, but no one hit 200. Doubles, there was 46 for the National League. That was Cesar Hernandez. You got doubles for Trout with 51. Triples, 13 and 11 for Yelich and Swanson. 14 for Turner and VR, and then you got 10 and 10 for Ronan Reeder and Xander Bogaerts. I wonder if Ronan Reeder is like a Gavin Lux regen, since Gavin Lux isn't in the rosters yet, which I guess there's some complications going on with certain players. You got Judge as the home run leader in the National League, followed by Josh Bell right behind him, and then in the American League you had Acuna and Pete Alonso tying it with Yelich one behind them. So okay, some bombs were being hit. You got Trout with the most RBIs, Bellinger right behind him, and then you had Stanton with the most in the National League with a pretty big cushion, and then JD Davis. Okay, that's an interesting one for sure. Let's take a look at stolen bases, 44 and 46. And then we'll take a look at some of the wins and losses. 19 for Jake Odorizzi. You had 16 for Miles Michaelis. Saves, 54 for Brandon Morrow and 50 for Jordan Hicks. Best ERA was 2.47 for Strasburg, and Miles Michaelis had 2.27. And 5 shutouts for Bumgarner, along with 6 for DeGrom. Okay, some interesting stats there. We'll take a look at the awards. Stanton was MVP. All right. And then Yelich was MVP as well with 46 home runs and a 335 average. Cy Young was Jake Odorizzi and Charlie Morton. Yeah, batting title went to Stanton and Yelich. Reliever of the year was Chad Green as well as Brandon Morrow. All right. I mean, Brandon Morrow had himself a season. 2.74 ERA with 54 saves. Rookie of the year went to Alex Kirilloff and Sandy Donald. So that's kind of the teams. We have the playoff picture on screen. Yeah. So you guys can see what's kind of going on there. Let's see if we have anybody that's advanced so far. So we have the Padres and the Nationals in the NLCS taking on the Blue Jays. Or no, Padres are taking on the Nationals, and then you have the Blue Jays taking on the Astros. We'll simulate like a week, see if we have any winners. We don't, but the Blue Jays have a 3-0 lead, and the Nationals have a 3-1 lead. So anybody in the World Series yet? The Blue Jays swept the Astros, and then the Padres are just 2 games away. They got to win the rest of the series. They weren't able to. Blue Jays Nationals in the World Series. I'm kind of interested to see how this plays out. Haven't had game 1 yet. Washington is up 1-0. We'll simulate a couple days. 2-1 for the Nationals, and then 3-2 for the Blue Jays. So let's go to the Blue Jays and see how this plays out. I don't want to enter the game, because if I enter the game, then I have to control it, and I feel like then I'm intervening. So let's see what happens. They lost. It comes to game 7, and the Blue Jays defeated the Nationals in the 2020 World Series. So let's do a quick reminder of the National squad, just so you guys can get a peek and see what that was like. VR, Dickerson, Ketel Marte, Josh Donaldson, Nelson Cruz, Baez. That's actually a really strong team. And then we'll take a look at the World Series champions, the Toronto Blue Jays. They had Peralta, Acuna, Mancini, Gurriel, Chavis, Travis Shaw. Offensively, it's not terrible, but there's definitely better teams. I think the Nationals had a better team, but we'll take a look at the pitching. First off, with the Nationals, you got Manoah, Castillo, Davies, Brandon Morrow, the saves leader, the reliever of the year. But let's take a look and see what the Blue Jays had. Severino, Lugo, Marquez. Okay, not bad. You had Stammen. I mean, I guess it was kind of even with what they had. Like, it wasn't anything crazy. I feel like both teams had some good hitters, some decent pitchers, and you can see why. I guess you can see why the Blue Jays won. World Series MVP John Birdie, really, and Ketel Marte was the postseason MVP. So yeah, that's what if the MLB had a fantasy draft kind of restarted. Some teams were pretty crazy. Like, I'm definitely interested to see how that would have played out if we would have ran a couple more years. So again, guys, I will do a fantasy draft rebuild. I'll probably wait a couple days just so that this video isn't like back to back with the next one, or maybe I'll do it tomorrow, who knows. But first, guys, if you enjoyed the video, let's make sure we hit that 500 like goal, and I'll do a rebuild for you guys in the morning. And that's about it, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. Thumbs up if you did. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel and enjoy MLB content. Make sure you hit that little bell icon so that all notifications, or you get notified whenever a video does go live. And in the comment section, again, let me know one player in baseball that you wish you had on your team. And that's about it, guys. I'll catch you all in the next video. On screen now are 2 of my most recent videos, and that's it. I'll see you all next time. Peace.